Hello, everyone. This is Blue Raven. I am the founder of the Soul Work Method, where I offer one on one facilitations and courses to assist people in working through their blocks, their limitations, to really start to connect with their authentic self. And when we connect with our authentic self, we flow in life from a state of peacefulness and knowing and trusting that we are now aligned with our true soul way of being here. So, today we're going to talk about some of the energies that are coming through and what is to come going forward. So, what has already started and will continue for a little while, including in February, is a lot of old traumas are coming up, old contracts and agreements that we've had that keep us trapped in and stuck in states of insecurity, um, fear, and keep us small. Okay, so those experiences are going to start to show up for you, or experiences are going to start to show up for you via family or work or personally, that triggers some of these old um, states of being in you. And these states of being have been imprinted in you from a very young age, or ancient lineage type stuff, in the DNA even of humanity. And those old states of being will trigger you to feel the feels very strongly. It'll be pretty intense. There won't even be as much buffering from the ego programming anymore, because our higher self really wants us to bring this stuff up now to the surface. So you may feel fear, you may feel anxiety, anger, PTSD, and feel it fully, because those imprints are going to become active that are in your body. You may even feel them so fully that you forget that there's always a reason why this is coming up. You may forget that it's not about you necessarily in the moment. You may even go into more of a disempowered victim state again, and get really caught up in the story or the program of what is going on in front of you. And I want you to remember and remind yourself that all of these kinds of experiences that are coming up right now and will in February are there. They've been specifically put there by you, by your soul, you as in your soul, your higher self, for you to now get an opportunity to really bring up these old emotions, these old states of being, so that they can really be looked at and cleared. If you find yourself going through states where you're saying, oh, I'm so tired of dealing with this, just know that's actually an ego protective program to say, I'm actually not ready to let go of this and I'm going to judge it. Because that's another type of contract, is to judge your experience, judge your reaction. Okay, so that's a little bit of an aside. Some of you are going to be able to work through this on your own, by going into that witness observation mode, still point mode, zero gravity mode, and some of you are going to need assistance. So don't beat yourself up over it, because we came here as humanity to collaborate and to assist each other. So these states that are being triggered, these old traumas, PTSD states, these old contracts, agreements, and bonds, really bondage type bonds, they represent aspects of some of the earliest types of contracts or bonds, that were created when humanity was starting to be fully controlled and manipulated by those that have started the inverted or false matrix. So we're really starting to get to some of the real deeper contracts. And as they come up, as we work through them, we're freeing ourselves of so much more that will help us become more and more of, again, our authentic selves. So some of these types of contracts that are coming up, one of the big ones that's coming up and will continue into February is the distorted masculine. So any of the aspects of the masculine in all of us, no matter what gender we are, um, the distorted masculine usually shows up within us as feeling insecure, okay, and small, and hence compensates or overcompensates by trying to overpower others, trying to use authoritative measures that we also see in the collective, right? So the distorted masculine is also going to be worked on in the collective. Um, so the distorted masculine feels really insecure, feels small, feels like nobody sees them. And in order to feel safe, in order to feel secure, in order to feel seen, they that side, the distorted masculine, really goes, look at me, and tries to use you know power as a way to make themselves feel more secure, make themselves feel more important and more validated. So you may find there are examples of that showing up in your life, examples of that even showing up within yourself, and really observe it. Really observe that state as it comes up for you or in those around you. Bullying is another form of that. So, as the distorted masculine comes up, as you process it and clear it, it will unplug and unhook because it has taken over. It's the masculine is traditionally in the right side of the body. It has sort of overlaid itself over the divine masculine and the authentic masculine, and it has pushed away that divine or authentic masculine from you and taken its place in a sense. Okay, so as it comes up, as you process it, as you clear it, it will then it will leave. It'll free you of it. May not be fully yet, but more prominently now than ever before. And those ties to it some of them can be quite sticky in the past. Now it's going to be easier to free ourselves of those ties and bonds to it. And then you'll have space within you for the authentic masculine to start to reintegrate. So that will really start to show up in you and in those around you even. So if that's happening, let people know that this is right now um, going on for the collective, for those who are ready for it. So when that divine masculine does start to reintegrate, you will find that you'll have a different kind of strength now within you. It's a strength that comes from an aligned state of inner knowing of who you are and not needing to push yourself on someone, not needing to show someone or prove yourself to those around you, to those that you think you need validation from. Because the divine masculine creates such a state within that you don't need validation. You don't need others to approve of you. You don't need others to see you. Because when we're in that separated state, it's hard to see ourselves. And when the divine masculine starts to reintegrate, then we are naturally connected again with who we are and the knowing of who we are, or we're starting to get a better sense of who we are. And when we do that, we actually feel a lot more comfortable and safe within ourselves. Okay. And then you feel more at home within yourself. So you don't need to go prove yourself because there's nothing to prove. It allows you to be in a more sovereign state. You're no longer sort of kept outside of yourself, and you're no longer relying on this distorted masculine to make you feel good. That external validation technique that's been really prominent in humanity starts to really dissipate when it starts to come back in. So just know that that is happening, that keeping you inferior, less than kind of state from the distorted masculine. Because the distorted masculine is a lot about competition. It's a lot about, rivalry and fighting, right? The whole fighting, war, battle comes from the distorted masculine because it's a constant need to prove yourself. It's a constant need to assert your power, assert yourself as a leader, as an authoritarian in some way. And we all have aspects of that within us. Sometimes we do it with our children, sometimes we do it with people in our lives, sometimes we do it in internal criticism, and or even our own way of thinking in terms of our criticism of what's happening in the world, different ways that the distorted masculine comes out. So no need anymore to puff ourselves up, because that inner knowing is going to start to integrate back in. So that's really exciting. The other one is the guilty conscience that is starting to show up. So the guilty conscience is connected to that kind of feeling bad about things, or feeling like you're having to be good, be a better person. It's related to a very old manipulation that was done in the humanity, and it's related to parts of the original sin. Okay, so with the false matrix or the inverted matrix, what happens is whatever those that were creating the matrix did to humanity, they then blame humanity for, saying you did this to yourselves. So hence the idea of sinning and whatnot that has been created was designed for that, to cover up the fact that they did something really wrong, and they took that consciousness of being bad or feeling guilty and put it into us. So they inverted it and put it into us as humanity, so that we feel guilty or we feel bad, and are, some people try really hard to be good, right? And to sort of make up for sometimes when we're not at our best, and then we feel bad, right? Or some of the decisions we may have made of life in life that we then regret afterwards, and we can feel guilty about, and we feel bad. You see it all the time in parents. They're always feeling bad or guilty about something. So it comes to aspects of the original sin. And it's when some of the manipulation was done in humanity to enslave us, okay? And in that enslavement, some of the manipulation had to do with disconnecting us from our heart magnetic field in a much bigger way than we know of, that we know of, or not know of, but operate from at this time. So they disconnected parts of that from us via energetic cuts, some of the genetic engineering, and that was part of this original sin that was done, where they took humanity into a different trajectory for a while. So that programming of original sin was put into the collective, put into humanity, and now that whole guilty conscience is starting to also dissipate. It's started in this past week or so. It will continue into February, and most likely into March, and however long it takes from there. And all of these things are happening in phases. All of these things are happening in layers. But it's really exciting that it is happening now, and we can start to feel it so much more in these deeper ways. So the energies then for February, the energies over the next couple of months will be focusing a lot on that. You may find a need to cocoon every once in a while. You may find that when this stuff comes up, you might be really in the thick of it, in the mud of it, and just remember to go into that witness mode, that observational state, and let yourself go, hey, this is great. Let me work through this. Let me see why this is coming up. Okay? So, it's fun. Play and take it for what it is, and don't get too caught up in the drama of it, because most of you who listen to this already know that. So I really wanted to share that with you because it's so exciting that some of these energies are being cleared and released and allowing us to reconnect more and more with some of our original divine blueprint for humanity. Thank you so much for listening, and much love to you all. Bye-bye.